now I'm curious to ask you about how do you think the concept of resilience and achieving prosperity are interconnected?
Mm. I think, we all have resilience inside of us. We're all faced with challenges in life. Some of us bigger challenges, some of us, a lot of challenges. And I think it's about working out what it is that gets you through those moments, because we all get through them. We're not all stuck back at the place where we faced our first challenge and are sort of, just wallowing in self-pity. We have actually managed to move on past all of those things. And when you look back at those challenges that you've faced in life, firstly, to acknowledge the fact that you did get through them. And maybe that was a tough time, but you've learned something from it, because we all do learn something from our challenges, whether it's learning strength or whether it's learning something about yourself, whether it's, taking a new turn in life. It might be, many different things. We all get something out of those moments of challenge. And being resilient is one way of getting through those challenges and coming out of it as quickly as possible so we can continue on with life. And I think being resilient is working out, first of all, the acknowledgement of, yes, this is not great, but not great stuff happens to everybody. And I've got the capacity to get through this because I'm strong enough and I've done stuff in the past that has got me through those difficult times. And I think also to be able to then say, even though I'm not coping very well at the moment, what are the things that are around that I can do that are going to help me to cope better? And what are the resourceful things that I can do? So it might be that you say, okay, well, I'm not feeling really great today. Let's watch my favorite movie, or let's go for a walk in the park, or take the dog for a walk, or, go for a run, or whatever it happens to be. Find those things that help you get through those moments. And, in the back of your mind, have a little resource or toolbox to be able to say, okay, when I'm feeling rubbish, I'll let myself do this for a little while. And then when I'm ready to snap out of it, know that I need to snap out of it, these are the things that I can do to help me.
I think that the big message, I think there's a couple. One of them I mentioned about music is that it brings us together and we realize how much more similar we all are than different. And I think there needs to be less of a divide, because we all really do want the same things. And as well, I hope when people listen to my music or my speaking or read my writing, they realize just the strength of the human spirit. We're so much more resilient than we think we are. And if they're in a difficult situation and they don't know how they're going to get through it, I hope that they will just take away that you just put one foot in front of the other and you keep going. And eventually, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be the next day, but eventually things do start to get easier and they do start to feel lighter.
I'm curious to ask you about resiliency in sports and how much time you spend on talking to players about resiliency.
Well, that's a great story, and I love hearing that. That's really an inspirational story. And I think what you said is so fantastic. The only limits on your life are the artificial ones, are the ones that you put on there. And that's a discussion that we have with guys all the time. Baseball is a really tough sport. It's probably, it is the only sport in the world where at the big league level, if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. It's a really, really hard game. And when a lot of these guys get to pro baseball, they've had a lot of success up to that point. They're great players. They're the best. They've always been the best on their team, the best in their state. Some of them the best in the country. So having that discussion with them that they're going to face adversity. Things are not always going to be easy, right? But they have to understand that what's going to set them apart in their career is their ability to bounce back from those mistakes. And then, like you said, recognize that the only limits are the ones you put on yourself. So many guys have beliefs that are so deeply rooted in them about their abilities, about who they're going to become, about what they do, that they never really let themselves out. They never really let themselves free, and they can't reach their potential because of that. And I think you're a great example of that, right? Just, somebody told you that, and then you realize that the only limits are artificial. And that you have a choice. Really, it's every day. And this is something we preach all the time. It's every play, every day, whatever it is, you have to make these choices to Number one, battle the limits that you're setting for yourself. And then number two, bounce back from the difficulties you face. And realistically, as you get better at that, you should be able to bounce back a little bit faster every time. It's always uncomfortable at first. It always sucks at first. You know, you get hit in the mouth and it's hard the first time, but you get more prepared for that. You get rid of some of those limiting beliefs and you really hone that ability to bounce back and understand that, you know, something tough happened, but that's it. One of my favorite mantras that we teach guys is you face something tough, you get beat one time. So what? Now what? That's what you tell yourself. So what? It happened. It's done. I took my lessons from it. Now what do I do? So that's a really important part of baseball, as tough of a game as it is. You got to be resilient. You got to be able to bounce back, and you got to be able to battle those limiting beliefs like you talked about.
It is the ability to be a rubber band. It is the ability to bounce back. It is the understanding that we don't control the challenges we face, the challenges you face, but we do determine, do we get back up, keep going, and choose to be optimistic and take control of what's in our control. And so resilience is something that I think the world got a big shakeup on the last few years that they weren't ready for. But it's really nothing more than our ability to bounce back. When you get hit with something unexpected, a painful diagnosis, a divorce, laid off from a job, will you choose to get back up or will you choose to lie there? And that's really where I see resilience. And it is more than anything, it's a muscle, but it's a choice we have to make. And the ones who make that choice over and over and over again are the ones that seem to be more successful in life. And we tend to wonder what their special talent or ability or how somebody can go through that situation and have such a good attitude and spirit. And what they fail to see is they have the same opportunity to make those choices. They just haven't yet.